Behind towering walls and royal halls, some stories were never buried. From abandoned castles cloaked in mist to grand palaces echoing with whispers of the past, these places hold secrets that refuse to stay silent. Guests have reported shadowy figures drifting through corridors, phantom footsteps in empty chambers, and chilling encounters with spirits said to belong to kings, queens, prisoners, and betrayed souls trapped between history and legend. So keep the lights on, because tonight we step inside the world's most haunted castles and palaces, and some of them may still be occupied. My name is Graeme Milne.
My name is Karen Swanston.
And welcome to Lights On, Still Scared. How are you doing, Karen?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm fine. How's you been since the last time we chatted?
I have been very well, thank you. Had a wee trip to Dublin.
Good stuff.
Well, there's a little bit in my
your spiel, as they say. So today we're going to be talking about castles and palaces. Both myself and Karen have visited a fair few of these establishments in our time, and we're going to be sharing stories from both Scotland and England. And today I'm going to be kicking off with Needpath Castle. I don't know if you've been to Needpath Castle, Karen.
I haven't been. No, whereabouts is that?
This is Peebles. So Peebles are the borders of Scotland.
Indeed. I've been to the borders.
Very nice, isn't it? It's beautiful.
It's okay.
It's all right.
The
scenery's lovely.
There, but there you go. I say no more.
There are many castles there, many houses, many palaces, many stories connected to the area. And our first stop is a 14th century tower built by Sir Gilbert Hay. This building, typically like many others of its ilk, is now a functioning hotel stroke events place. And they use it for weddings and such like, but it's a fantastic building and very old, very great history. And of course, it's meant to be haunted, and that's why it's been mentioned today. Oh. And in this instance, I actually spoke to someone in person about the ghost, which is always good.
It is, yes.
It is.
Yes, it gives that verification.
It does. It's always nice to speak to someone. Today, there are some fantastic stories that have been given firsthand, so we'll kick off with this one right now. So this building was owned by the Weems family, and it still is. And I was told that recently the youngest member of the Weems family was married, and they had to have the house cleansed or blessed before the wedding because of the various spiritual things that have been going on there in the past, ghost sightings, etc. And the ghost, of course, has a name, and it's called the Grey Lady.
Not the Grey Lady.
Yes.
The Grey Lady gets around.
She does go around. It's not the same Grey Lady, we hope. But yeah, there's a lot of grey, green and white ladies in Scotland. It seems to be, or everywhere in Britain. Certainly seems to be a thing, for sure. Now, typically, the ghost is that of a woman who suffered through unrequited love.
Oh.
And met her end at the hands of either her lover or her father. I know. Oh. The story goes that she was bumped off by her lover, he basically organised the bumping off by bribing her father. I mean, what a family. And killed this poor woman so he could go off with his other lover. So the story goes. But of course, typically, there's no names attached. There's no real evidence to this. But what we do have is ghost stories. And so, as a result, in modern times, some of the phenomena has included people hearing footsteps in the building, poltergeist activity, the usual kind of thing. However, there's also been the management has said that infrequently they've heard people coming into the building when they've been in and seen nobody there, but walking up the stairs. And, it's quite disconcerting for them. And this has been going on for a long, long time. 2 American psychics came along recently, and they it depends if you believe in psychics or not. Believe that they have the actual power to connect with spirits. Some people believe it, some people don't. But they came there and they said that these two psychics, that this woman was trapped there and she'd suffered a terrible fate. But not only her, because of course you've also got a Victorian servant being seen there, and a jester type figure, which is a bit of Rent-A-Ghost, really, that one, but
Showing your age, Graeme.
I know, tell me about
Rent-A-Ghost.
Rent-A-Ghost, yes. The later episodes, obviously.
Yes, I do remember Rent-A-Ghost,
yes.
so I'm showing my age too, but there you go.
I know. But one family I spoke to recently said that when they went there for a visit, the woman, and I do know her, because I have spoke to her, said that she had a very bad experience, and she felt this evil presence she describes a cloak of blackness over her, following her the entire time she was there.
Oh.
So no matter where she went in the building, this, whatever it was at her back, and it was causing her making her very anxious and nervous. And so much so that she actually took the kids out and she felt like there was something right behind her on the staircase, like literally shoving her. So the husband, of course, being less spiritually inclined, shall we say, he was like, what's this all about? He couldn't feel anything. He wanted to carry on looking around the building, but she left and said it was a god-awful feeling. And she said she never forgot this. And that's 20 years ago. She never forgot this feeling. She said, really, really bad. I don't know if it's her, the grey lady, or what, but certainly something very peculiar there. The family, of course, owns quite a big estate, and next to it, and this is one other place, but it is kind of connected, it's called Barnes Tower. Mm-hmm. Barnes Tower is 15th century. And again, it is accommodation, like an Airbnb, I suppose, but a nice one, And it's had some very, very strange things going on there. Probably the best story I received was from one of the cleaners there. And she was saying that one time she was working in the corridor, and she saw something at the end, which she couldn't quite make out what it was, but it was there and it looked a bit misty. And then it started to walk towards her, and it turned out it was the shape of a woman, very cloudy, giving off a strange light. And it came towards her and she couldn't do anything. There was nowhere to run. So she stood there while this figure came at her fairly quickly and went right through her body, out the other side, and vanished. She was left frozen on the spot, literally, and frozen in temperature. Very scary experience. Who or what that is, I have no clue. But that's those two buildings that are connected. That's Barnes Tower, Needpath Castle, owned by one family, which has multiple ghosts. And yes, I will try and find out more.
Lovely. Yeah, sounds very interesting there. Yes.
I do fancy going.
Right, so not far from Beebles, like hop skipping across the border, is Chillingham Castle.
Very good.
In Northumberland.
Yeah.
Said to be the most haunted castle in England. Now.
I did hear that, actually. It's got a real reputation.
Yeah, it's said to have 100 ghosts. Now, how they know it's got 100 ghosts, I don't know. Perhaps they've done a roll call.
Maybe did.
Yeah.
Good at counting, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ghosts.
That is a lot of ghosts. And the most famous one is the Blue Boy, which I'm going to quickly go over that in a minute. Yeah. Go over the history of the place, because I think that has a bit of a bearing as to why it's got so many ghosties there.
Right, yeah.
So originally the origins of the 12th century, most likely to be a fortified manor. That's how it started off.
Okay.
And then in the 13th century, which is say circa 1246, it was officially fortified as a castle with permission from the crown. And obviously, because of where it was with the English and Scottish borders, it was quite strategic when it comes to the wars going on between the Scots and the English.
Right, yeah.
It's hosted by loads of kings, notoriously the one of Edward I, who used it as base during the campaigns for those said wars against Scotland. Medieval time, it expanded to a fortified residency rather than a military base. So it started to use it as a residence. And it's passed down into the ownership of the Grey family, the Grey family, who held this property for centuries.
Right.
And gradually it was transformed from a fortress to a stately home. And then from the 17th to 18th century, it continued to be a residence. And this is where I think the majority of the castle's legends and the ghosts all come in during that period.
Right.
You know, they liked their ghosties, especially in the 18th century.
They certainly did.
Yeah,
It does
the
seem to
young
be
Victorians
true.
liked it.
They did, yeah. It's very true.
And also around about that area, that time period, it declined in the military importance as the border conflicts eased. So us English began to like the Scots.
That's very good. I like that. That's
I
nice.
don't think the Scots like the English very much still, but there you go.
Well, we do. We
Indeed.
have our moments, you know.
Indeed. Right. And during World War II, I didn't know this, but during World War II, it was used in an army barracks. And it did suffer quite a bit of damage during the war as well. And after the war, it went into a little bit of neglect. And it fell into a semi-ruined repair.
That's such a common theme. How many castles, palaces across Britain that were used during the war for hospitals or prisoners of war, and then become derelict, and some resurrect themselves and some never do. It's such a fascinating thing.
So it was restored like mid-late 20th century under the Grey family. So I think that they actually brought it back from who it belonged to before. I suppose if it was an army barracks, it would have been the state that owned it before. I'm not sure. Didn't quite look into that, but anyway. And it was gradually repaired and reopened, and it was preserved both historically and tourist. So now it's a tourist attraction.
Yes.
So now we can go on to the hauntings.
Okay.
The Blue Boy. The Blue Boy is the most famous one of all.
Yeah.
He supposedly was a boy who discovered documents in the castle relating to the Spanish invasion in 1588.
Okay.
And apparently they bricked him into the wall with the papers to keep him quiet.
Really?
So I can understand why perhaps he wants to do a little bit of haunting.
I would say so, yeah.
So he's said to appear in the Pink Room.
Okay.
The Pink Room is a bedroom, apparently.
Okay, yeah.
And he arrives at midnight.
Yeah.
Accompanied with the sound of a child crying in pain, which I would have thought the sound of a child crying in pain would be bad enough without him actually seeing himself.
Yeah, true.
And also witnesses described him as a blue halo and a blue figure near the bed.
Okay.
And apparently 1920s, they'd done a bit of renovation work, and they actually did find a child's skeleton and blue fabric.
Right, so that was proven.
In a wall. So that's
interesting.
Obviously go with the stories.
Yeah.
So, but apparently the sightings did decrease somewhat. So obviously
his discovery,
he was a little bit happy that it had been found, but he still hovers about because multiple witnesses still see him. Apparently he likes touching arms.
Okay.
So he's more of they say he's more of a guiding presence rather than a threatening one.
Right, yeah.
And several people have reported seeing him. There's a flash of blue light, the agonising cries at midnight, and there's rustling of silk apparently has been heard, and a sudden drop in temperature, which is very... It's common with spirits.
It's very true.
But they seem to think that is due to another spirit linked to a Lady Mary Berkeley.
Right.
Who is a grey lady.
So, okay.
Now they get around. So Lady Mary Berkeley was apparently the wife of Lord Grey of Wark and Gillingham, who said in 1682 ran off with his wife's sister, Henrietta.
Right.
As you do. So it wouldn't be that there's any girl code. There would also be no sister code going on there.
Okay.
So, So she was left in Gillingham with her baby daughter, and I think she was there for about 20 years, so she died in 1710. And they seem to think that that's when her ghostly reputation kind of hovered about. And so she's obviously described as someone who passes close by, and she's a presence rather than a feel.
Okay.
And of visitors, online reports have said that doors open by themselves. The staff just treat this as routine because it often, it's so frequent. And then staff say that they see figures appearing briefly, then vanishing. And then strange lights on photos, apparently.
Right, yeah.
But the ones with photos, though, you can say it's dust or it's a bit...
Yeah, it's true. It's very difficult to say what is or isn't unusual because so much light anomalies naturally occur anyway. But yeah, if there are really slightly unusual ones, I suppose they're always worth They're worth their second look, really, I guess.
But I mean, obviously, over the centuries, the oldest accounts are from the actual families that lived there, and they describe the halo of light of the blue boy, and interesting claims of portraits where figures seem to step out.
Bit Harry Potter going on there, but Harry Potter. Yeah, that's odd, isn't it?
That's a bit weird. So I don't know what that was. Anyway, previously mentioned Edward I.
Yes.
So there's in 1297.
Right.
It's
yes.
Not that. That was a longer time ago. Not that.
Not then. No, but I know where you're coming from. I do know what you're saying.
Yes. Anyway, yes. So the Scottish War of Independence broke out back then. So that same year. The forces of William Wallace raided Chillingham.
Yeah.
And burnt local women and children alive in the church.
Oh, crikey. Right, okay.
You didn't see that in the film, did you?
No, you did not.
No.
There's a lot of things in the film probably shouldn't have seen, but
well, yeah.
Won't go into that.
Yes, we won't go into that. So the following year, Edward I made Chillingham his base.
Right.
As I said, because of the strategic placing of the castle at the time. So the dungeons apparently began to fill up with enemy prisoners, Scottish women and children, as well as the soldiers and spies.
Right.
So it's getting quite packed in there. And legend had it that King Edward personally appointed the man to deal with them. Now, this man was called John Sage. Have you heard of John?
The name does ring a bell. I think he was described as a rather cruel man.
Well, he certainly liked his job. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's a statement.
Supposedly, he was a soldier who had risen through the ranks to become a lieutenant in Edward's army. Yeah. And he had a leg injury which forced him to retire from combat. And he went to the king, apparently begging him for a while. So basically he said, "Gives a job."
Yeah.
And Edward appointed him as torturer of the castle.
Crikey.
So over a 3-year period, he allegedly tortured some 50 prisoners, rather. Crikey. Not 30, 50.
That's outrageous.
A week.
Oh, my God.
So when the war ended, they thought, well, what do we do with all these prisoners? So John said, right, well, let's burn them, the remaining prisoners alive in the grounds of the castle. Well, there were children, because you remember when they had children there as well. Children watched them being burnt. So they watched their parents being burnt. And the room where they watched it from is known as either the Edwards room or the killing room.
Right.
What did he do with the children? Do you know what he done with the children?
I don't think. I don't know if I do want to know. This is getting a little darker than I'd anticipated, I have to say. But go for it.
So apparently he hacked the children to death.
Oh, God.
With an axe that is still displayed in the castle.
Jesus.
So you can still see that. Yeah, so...
That is brutal.
So someone who... They do say that, if you find a job that you like, it's not work.
Yeah, he certainly liked his. No, exactly. He was obviously a sadist.
So 7,500 Scottish prisoners died at Chillingham. And their bodies were apparently dumped in the lake. So do you know what happened to John? I'm
hoping something very bad, and I know it makes me sound like a bad person. No, I hope he didn't skip off.
Over the borders, back to Scotland.
No, was he...
he was English anyway. He would have gone skipping.
Was he caught?
Well, apparently one evening, he killed his lover, Elizabeth Cholton, who allegedly strangled her during I shouldn't laugh, a sex game on the rack.
Really? Where did you get this information from? Didn't know such things happened back then.
Indeed, what did I? I mean, she obviously was a game girl, wasn't she?
Anyway. Well, never mind. That was the end of that then, was it? Well,
yes. So he's killed her, but apparently her father was the leader of the powerful border revivers.
Ah, yes.
So they were outlaws of the gangs, weren't they? They played the borders. But they were vital to the English against the Scots. So rather than lose them, Edward handed John over to them.
Ah, okay. Politics.
Indeed. And he was sentenced to hang at Chillingham. But instead he was torn apart, still alive.
Torn apart?
It's torn apart.
Who did the deed?
I don't know. Well, obviously the border reavers did, So he's the one that apparently haunts the castle, and he's a dark presence, apparently.
Karma's alive and well.
Indeed. So finally, this did tickle me, I must admit. I looked on TripAdvisor. So the castle currently is owned by Sir Humphrey Wakefield. And he's owned it since 1982, which I did say previously, late 1980. 20th century, they started to repair it. And apparently this is his wife's ancestral seat. So obviously she descends from the Greys.
Yeah.
And he was advised by a psychic, apparently, not to buy it because of all the ghosts. Obviously, he didn't listen, but so he brought it anyway. And when he asked a priest to bless the house, the priest said, no, there's too many. I can't deal with it.
Thank you.
So, so had a quick look at TripAdvisor, and I must admit, this did tickle me. I mean, there is several on there that does say about footsteps in empty rooms.
Yeah.
That you can hear people running above the apartments above you, and they know that apartment is empty.
Right.
And they actually hear a woman humming as well.
Okay.
But this particular one, I just put my glasses on so I can read it properly.
Okay. It's outrageous. That's no wonder people are queuing up to do spooky investigations.
Indeed,
there. It's very difficult to get your foot in the door there.
So anyway, so they said, this lady said, I stayed at Gillingham for the second time for 4 nights and stayed again in the Grey apartment. Beautiful large room with full kitchen, dining room, 2 bedrooms and a lovely log burner fireplace in the living room. That sounds quite nice.
It's very delightful, yes, I have to say.
Everything perfect as it was the first time we stayed. Is it haunted? Well, I'm a sceptic personally. However, Gillingham Castle is the only place that's made me question this. Our first few nights were pretty quiet. The fireplace tools did swing around on their own. She's put in brackets draft, ?
Okay.
And there was a weird reoccurring noise of fabric sweeping along the carpet, which could be the ghosty of the skirt. Yeah.
Of course,
And then she said, old building making weird noises. But on the final night, we kind of felt like we'd outstayed our welcome. Well, obviously 3 nights and you're out.
Yeah, I reckon so.
The wardrobe door swung open just as I was getting into bed. Put it down to dodgy hinges. But why did it happen before this? We'd already been there 3 nights. Husband jammed it shut with a bit of cardboard, but unfortunately it then proceeded to rattle and bang throughout the night, as if someone wanted to open it. But I don't believe in ghosts, so nothing to worry about, right? Well, I admit I was scared at that point. Husband woke up in the middle of the night after hearing bagpipes, and I woke up to the sound of horses' hooves in the courtyard.
Crikey.
And this bit that made me chuckle. We bumped into Sir Humphrey on the way out, who had overheard us joking about the wardrobe ghost. He told us he'd spoken with the ghosts in that room before about messing about with the furniture, and he's very disappointed to hear it was still happening. He walked off saying, it is completely unacceptable. It did make me laugh.
Oh, God. That's brilliant.
So that did make me chuckle.
Yes.
I thought, there you go. After all the doom and gloom.
Unacceptable, you
it's
damn ghosts.
How dare you? But, I mean, they do say that you stay there overnight, so perhaps a road trip might be in order if we're brave enough.
I mean, actually, to be fair, I kind of puts me off staying. I mean, not the Ratley wardrobe, that's the least of my worries, but the fact that John Sage...
He's only in the dungeon, unless of course you want to sleep in the dungeon.
I do not want to sleep in the dungeon. No.
Sleep on the rack.
I don't know. I want to sleep. It's going to be a little choice. You're not going to get much skip. Get that priest back.
Well, you can't deal with it. It's too many ghosts.
That's wild.
So there you go. That is Gillingham Castle.
That's very interesting.
So you can understand why it's classed as the most haunted.
Yeah. With a horrible history like that, with the layers of dreadful things that have happened in the past, it's got to leave some residue. But at least people believe that to be the case.
Yeah.
The one I'll talk about now is Barony Castle, which is actually again in the Borders, and again it's a fairly old building that's undergone many changes and is now like a hotel. But there's been things like fire fairly recently. There's a few people killed fairly recently in a fire, well, at least 30 years ago. Yeah. But it's got a long dark history and. Lots of ghosts there as well. The guy that's the manager. I contacted him about a year ago. What a very obliging man, I have to say. No, but he was really up for it. And he says, I've been collecting... They've collected the stories for years. They're really diligent about them. And they yeah, here you go. This is all what's happened. This is what happened to me. So I was like, wow, okay, fair enough. So these are really cool stories. It hasn't got a John Sage. I think you
Well, I
top
think
that
that's
one.
quite good.
I think probably so. But it's in the Tweed Valley again, in the Borders, and 16th century tower owned by the Murray family. But it was also at one point by a witch finder. And there were 3 witches tried there, though I believe the outcome of the trial was never recorded. So I suspect it wasn't a good outcome.
No, that sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the doorway above into the entrance of the well has a carving. It says, "Prepare to meet thy God," which is a bit ominous when one arrives there, I think. So the guy's called John Boswell anyway. What the staff do is they give the ghost funny names to make it, to make it all more palatable, because, it's scary. So one guy called Stevie discovered a ghost, and it's now called Stevie's Screamer.
Oh.
Which is really cool. Yeah.
Does it scream then?
It does scream.
Oh, okay.
Funnily enough. Yeah. And there's another one called Aldriki, because he reeks of tobacco.
Oh.
And he's a Murray. They think he's a Murray, one of those long line of people who owned it. But a Murray from kind of fairly recent times, probably early 20th century Murray. But Stevie Screamer, yeah, it's what happened was basically the guy Stevie was looking out the window one evening, and there's a gazebo in the back garden, if you like, the grounds, and this blue flashing light went boom, appeared, and at the same point this really horrific scream. And he was like, oh. And so he went running out to see what was going on, assuming somebody had, had an accident or fallen or something, but there was nobody there. So it was very disconcerting. But the scream has been heard a few times, and guests have reported it, and it's always at the gazebo point they hear the scream. Turned out they believe that a young girl drowned in the River Tweed nearby a few years ago, so whether this is something to do with it or not. But there was a guy walking there early one morning, and this is more recent times. It was early, we're talking about 6:30 in the morning kind of thing, and it was becoming light. And there was a wee girl walking in front of him, and he thought, it's a bit odd, because she's like 8 years old and it's early. So he followed her. And she was sort of walking through the woods, and he followed her, and then he got to a patch of grass in a field, and she's still a bit ahead of him, and he's a bit odd. And then at that point he stopped, because he realised when he looked at the ground, the dew was undisturbed, so this figure had been walking ahead of him, hadn't left any marks at all in the grass, and that's the point the penny dropped, and he kind of thought, I don't think I'll be walking here
No, I don't think I'll be walking any further there.
Scuttled back. So that did happen, which was really odd. The Alexander Murray guy, who we call Aldriki, usually when he manifests, it's the smell of tobacco, but he has actually been seen in person with or without a dog. Sometimes he's in the company of a dog, which they've called the Blue Dog.
Oh.
The Blue Dog. So he's seen with the dog, sometimes not in the grounds, but he was seen recently sitting by what apparently was his favourite fireplace. He had a lovely little fireplace in what would have been a sort of small study. Now it's been converted since then, so it's all bricked up. But a witness saw him sitting by the bricked up fireplace with his pipe, except he wasn't sitting in a chair. But the body position was of a man sitting in a chair. Isn't that weird?
That's interesting.
Yeah, he was sitting in the shape of somebody sitting in an armchair, but no chair, just like literally suspended in the air, which was a bit disconcerting. So that's happened a lot. The one that I think, for me, that's the most interesting is one when the night manager was called to a disturbance in a room upstairs, and one of the guests was standing in his dressing gown looking very angry, saying, what are you going to do about the noise? This bloody noise has been going on for ages, this battering, bashing in the room. So the guy went to the door of the room in question and was sort of tentatively knocking, and he wasn't getting a response, but he said he could feel something or hear some battering about, and something would hit against the door now and then, which he described as like a soft body. And he was like, I'll try and get in and see what's going on, but he forgot his keys. So he bolted downstairs to get the keys from reception, gathered a colleague with him, then he went back up. Then they debated who's going to go in the room, because obviously the noise is continuing, and one guy eventually is picked to do it, and I'm sure it's the subordinate, of course. He gets sent in, and he goes in, and the room's been wrecked. Now, there's no guest being in that room, it was hired, but the bedclothes been ripped off the bed, the furniture was upended, and it was quite terrifying. So they sort of placated the guest, he went back to bed, they went downstairs, And a day or two later, they'd call in an engineer to look at the telephone, which had been broken. And the engineer said, what happened with the big scratch marks behind the door?
Oh.
So they wonder if it was the blue dog.
Okay.
Because it sounded like an animal moving about.
Right.
But that was a really odd one. A few years ago, Napier College in Edinburgh was invited to come along, some students, for a kind of charity fundraising spooky night. And they went in there and were, recording things. I'm not saying anything particularly happened because it's, it was nothing startling. By the end of it all, we're in the bar having a drink, and they got 2 mediums involved as well. And a couple of members of staff, and they had this porter guy there. He's been there for years. He was there. And they said to one of the mediums, said, oh, by the way, to the porter, you remember a couple of years ago, there's a bloke looking in the window at you in the middle of the night and you got a scare? And he was like totally white-faced by that point. He says, yeah, because he'd not told anybody about this. I do remember that. He says, well, he just wants to say, sorry, he was only joking with you. That was wild. So, so the guy had to continue working there, but that was pretty unusual. He never told anybody about the event. But yeah, somebody had looked in at him 2 years ago. Well, anyway, that's our little Barony Castle. Mm-hmm. And there's more. I mean, there's much more we could go into, but it's just a wee flavour.
It's a little flavour
of what there is. So who knows? Worth checking out. Yeah. I'm going to try. I'll be hoping to blag a visit.
That'll be good.
The old, I'm interested in ghosts, and see if they'll give me a free night, in the interest of scientific discovery or such likes. I'll try anyway.
Try.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, right. So the next one is still in Northumberland. Not that far. I think about 10 miles away. And that's Warkworth Castle.
Okay, I have not heard of that castle at all.
That's what I thought. I thought I haven't heard that one. So it's one of the lesser known ones, but it has got a grey lady.
Oh, crikey.
They get around. So the grey lady is apparently described as a pale female spirit wandering around the castle ruins. So by the sounds of it, it's partly ruins.
Right, yeah.
And she's often reported seen near the keep and along the walls at dusk. Mm-hmm. And she believed to have been, due to folklore, to be a grieving noblewoman or someone connected with the Percy family. So I assume that the Percy family owned it at some point. I did not look into that, and I do apologise for that.
For the Percys? I'm not sure. I haven't heard of the
Percys. No, okay. Well, perhaps
obviously somebody well-to-do.
Someone well-to-do, indeed, especially if they're noblewomen. And it's got quite a few centuries of haunted reputations, apparently, and its history, they think, contributes to that. It was built in the 12th century, so it's quite old. Site of conflict during the Anglo-Scottish Border War, so the same war as...
Oh, yes.
And obviously it's in a similar area as Chillingham as well. It's not, as I said, it's not that far. And again, it's associated with imprisonment, sieges and political violence, apparently. Yeah, but apparently visitors feel sudden cold spots, hear footsteps, feeling of being watched.
Right.
And strange noises in empty sections of the castle. Mm-hmm. And near the castle, there is Warkworth heritage, which also adds to the folklore. Mm-hmm. And it's a medieval chapel, apparently, that's carved in the rock beside the river Coquet. Where the river Coquet is, obviously.
Never heard that at all.
No, I'll have to look in the geography of that as well.
It's just a small tributary one, maybe.
Yes, I should have.
Can't even pronounce the word, but it's a small river.
I can't pronounce. I did.
One of them a stream.
I did Google it and practice it several times, but it still eludes me. And it's connected with tragic romantic legends and Gothic storytellings, apparently. And it inspired the Hermit of Warwick, which is an 18th century ballad by Thomas Percy.
Oh, okay. Hermits, yeah.
Know it well.
I don't know at all, but I know what a hermit is. Yeah, a lot of rich people like to install a wee hermit in their
So the atmosphere of the site apparently is isolated and eerie.
Okay.
Especially haunting at dusk and in misty weather. Mm-hmm. And it's enhanced by the ruined medieval architect and the riverside setting. So that's typical, spooky setting, I suppose.
Yes.
So there's no specific evidence providing paranormal activity at the castle. It's mainly folklore and legend,
right?
Really, and a visitor's experience as well. So, but apparently there was a paranormal investigator called Richard Jones.
Now, I have heard of him.
Yeah.
He is an author.
He wrote The Haunted Castles of Britain and Ireland.
Right, yes.
And he described the lower floors of the keep of having a distinctly chilly aura.
Yeah.
He also claimed dogs also refused to enter certain areas.
Always a good sign.
It was a good sign,
Spookiness,
yes,
yeah.
indeed. And children becoming unusually quiet inside the keep.
Okay. Again, common.
Well,
Children seem to have abilities perhaps that we've forgotten.
Indeed.
I do not know.
Mind you, if you've got a particularly noisy child, perhaps you just push them into the keep.
It's a great way of keeping your kids quiet by traumatising them to a haunted building.
Indeed. So, the Grey Lady, she's back again.
Yeah.
There's been multiple local legends describing seeing a pale woman wandering on the castle towers.
Right.
And witness officers described her as a silent female apparition in a grey or white flowing dress.
Right, okay.
Suddenly disappears near stairways and walls. So, yes, I mean, it's all, I suppose, the majority of our grey and red ladies is down to their attire.
Yes.
Yes, and along the battlement, apparently there is a young man that apparently can be seen running along the castle walls, and then he'll suddenly vanish when he's approached. A lot of it is residue, I think.
Yeah. From what went on rather than,
Yeah, and apparently near the heritage site there is a solitude-hooded night-like figure.
Okay.
An apparition's walking near the woods and the river path. So I think it's just a case of don't walk there in the dusk, in the dark.
Yes.
So, so that's that little bit there. A little unknown, not well known, I think, castle, but it's got quite a bit of a haunted reputation there.
I do find it interesting that a lot of these buildings have, something, whatever you describe it as, but at least a sort of residual air that's maybe given it the reputation. And I don't know, I mean, I guess if you believe that ghosts are spirits, people's spirits that perhaps don't want to be hanging around necessarily for centuries later in somewhere where they had a probably pretty miserable time. I don't know, maybe that's one theory anyway, but it is really interesting. And I like to say a lot of these castles, the stories are almost legendary, but what's interesting is when you get to the 19th century when the ghost story tradition became a thing and people got to take more interest in it and record it, and that's when you get the stories that seem to be the ones that stick. Good stuff. Now, have you ever been to Melville House Hotel? Just outside Edinburgh.
I think I might have.
It's
a couple of times.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's got some nice grounds. It was a family home. I think Henry Dundas owned it at one point. It's a Georgian mansion. I mean, it had some pretty important people stay there.
Ah, yes. Now that you said that, I have been there. I haven't stayed there, but I have been there. Yeah.
So Sir Walter Scott stayed there as well. A few other people like that. Yeah, Queen Victoria. George IV, he stayed there.
Oh.
George IV, he came to Edinburgh with his little kilt.
He did, yes.
He came there. I mean, when he wanted to change into his more suitable attire. And it's meant to be haunted. And I stayed there. I stayed there one night. And it was rather nice. But we're in the bar chatting, and the bar staff came along and they were very happy to chat about the ghost days. And they'd all had weird stories. And basically there was a sort of doorway that I think has been bricked up or boarded up now, but that was the main doorway into the dining area. And this figure's been seen sort of wandering about there, which is a woman. Described as looking like a queen, but it doesn't mean it's a queen, just somebody who's the lady of the house, perhaps.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's the gist of it. But there are some really creepy stories. And a lot of them have appeared in TripAdvisor. Of course they have. TripAdvisor's great for getting spooky stories. It's a gold mine.
A font of all knowledge, isn't it, TripAdvisor?
I mean, God, I don't know how these hotels function, these terrible reviews. People in trauma. But this one appeared anyway. And when you read them, I'm a bit cynical. I'll read them like, is this baloney? Is this just nonsense made up to, get a few hits or whatever, or is it actually a real genuine thing? So I'm like, it sounded genuine to me. Because the guy had obviously experienced someone who was young, so he said, But the detail was really interesting. And I think he was American. He never said he was American, but just the language suggested to be he's from the States. And he stayed there 20 odd years ago when he was a kid with his wee brother. And they'd gone out in the grounds of Melville during the day to kick about the football. And at the back of the hotel, there's a fantastic open area with a little wee ornate pond and all sorts of stuff. It's a lovely area. And we were playing there. And then Mum and Dad took him into town, which I'm assuming must have been Edinburgh, for dinner. And they went back at night to their room and fell asleep. And then he had this terrible nightmare. He dreamt that there was children being brutally murdered on the lawn. And he woke up with a terrible scare.
Yeah.
And when he woke up, first thing he saw was this woman in rags floating above his head, floating suspended above his bed. And he was frozen in fear, basically, and she sort of drifted to the edge of the bed, kept looking at him, and then went through the wall. And he put the light on. His brother woke up and saying, "What the hell's going on?" kind of thing. And he was babbling about this because the parents were called through. And absolutely terrifying experience. Anyway, that's what he said happened. But as he said, when she moved, the shadows in the room were moving with her. So it seemed like it was like almost like something solid in the room. Very, very strange. Anyway, but that's what happened. So what happened afterwards, when they checked the guest book, this, whatever it was, had been seen by other people. So it wasn't as if it was like a one-off. It's a few people reported seeing the same thing. It's strange.
So do they know who she is? Or any idea? Or
no, because, well, so you've got this queen-like figure that could be the lady of the House of Dalrymple, potentially. You've got the woman in rags, no idea. Maybe somebody who suffered a terrible fate. Was she the mother of the children? I really don't know. It's strange. But another family had said the same thing, that they'd stayed in the room that they'd stayed in, which is room 106, in case you're interested. And they'd seen the same thing, because one of the boys then had woke up and saw a girl suspended from the ceiling upside down. Which is really weird.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
Sort of basically in the same room as the previous boys had that experience, which was really, really odd. So I don't know. He said after, I quote, "I had to sleep the light on in my room after seeing a woman. It was freaky, but okay." But yeah, she was suspended upside down from the ceiling. Same room as the boys had slept in, room 106.
So that really was a case of lights on, still scared.
Indeed it was. Yeah, well done.
Excuse
no, I wouldn't know, but yeah, I mean, what would you do in that situation? I mean, you know, and then, of course, ghost sightings don't necessarily have to be in the dark. So I think as a master amount of ghost sightings seen during the day, so even the lights on, you'd probably still be
when I've seen them,
doomed.
they've been during the day.
Yeah.
They have been at night.
Yeah.
It's all,
I know There's a story that's completely unconnected to this at the moment, but just very briefly, that I've gotten off a guy for future purposes. And he saw this ghost of a woman in his bedroom when it was actually literally broad daylight, but in summertime. So, you know, in that situation, what does one do? Well, what he did do was he put the covers over his head. And he lay there with the covers over his head like this. But the strange thing was, he felt the woman approach the bed and then lean over him. So he was cowering in the bed. You could feel the woman's presence above his head. He lay there for about 20 minutes till it sort of went normal. And then he got kicked out and she'd gone. So that's terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I don't like the thought of them standing near me or being by my bed at all. Not while I'm sleeping. No.
And it's not like they might be bad people, but it's like if you don't know someone, do you? If you don't know someone, you wouldn't want some strange...
No, you don't want any weird people standing alive, let alone dead.
Well, I know, Jesus. I know. But anyway, that is Melville House Hotel.
I keep the hallway light on, but the shadows never fade. Every corner whispers secrets of the choices that I made. There's a tapping at the window, though the wind is standing still, and a chill runs down my spine like something moving at its will. the silence feels louder than before. Lights on, still scared. You can't hide from what's already here. Can't run, can't breathe. Something in the dark remembers me. No matter what I do, that feeling doesn't go away. Lights on, still scared. The hauntings never fail. There's a shadow in the doorway where I swear no shadow should be. And it moves just like a memory I'm too afraid to see. Every picture on the wall seems to watch me as I pass, like they're waiting for the moment when my courage doesn't last. I whisper little prayers to keep the nightmares from my bed. But something sits beside me, breathing echoes in my head. Lights on, still scared. You can't hide from what's already here. Can't run, can't breathe. Something in the dark remembers me. No matter what I do, that feeling doesn't go away. Lights on, still scared. The hauntings never fade.